Okay, I have dropped in a cylinder into my object manager, but I want to do something more with that cylinder. I want to turn it into something other than what it was. Now when I dropped that cylinder in, there's a couple things to notice about that object. First off, it says height segments 1, although rotation segments are 36. And we have our radius and our height are our main things. In this case, I have caps turned on. I could fillet them if I wanted. I could make it so that it doesn't wrap all the way around if I turned on slice. So we have lots of things, but mostly I'm looking at the moment at the fact that I have this cylinder. When we need to do things to an existing object, a primitive object, we can use what's called a deformation. This deformation that I'm looking at right now is a bend deformation, and if you think about it, the bend has to go into the cylinder to affect it. The box that you see here for the bend is the area that it will actually affect, and if we look, we'll notice that it's centered, so it should work fairly well. The problem being we're not going to get anything much from this because there's only that one segment. And this is where polygons and or segments come into play. The more segments, the smoother a deformation or a bend will be able to take place within your animation. See, now all of a sudden, notice that box though as I'm changing the strength and the angle just visually. Now there's a couple other things that we're looking at here. At the moment, by default, this is limited. We can say I want it unlimited, and then you'll notice that it extends beyond the box. We can also change its mode to within the box, and you'll notice that piece that was not within the box just got chopped off. I don't have a lot of use for that. Usually I'm either within the box or limited or unlimited, one or the other. Again, we can change that and tighten it down so that it affects more or less of it. If you think of the deformation just simply as an object, that works just fine. Now the problem comes when I drop a deformation on top of an object that's already been rotated or moved or all that kind of good stuff, because I have to get the center alignments lined up. You notice I just dropped a twist, and see how it's not really affecting the cylinder the way that we would we would expect it to. So let me put everything back here for a moment. Go ahead and drop that for a moment. Okay, so what I usually do is before I move or rotate or this particular object, I go ahead and apply any deformations I need. I'm going to drop a taper, maybe, onto the top half of this, put it inside there. Okay, and maybe even a twist now onto the upper portion of it. And again, that goes inside the cylinder as well. Yeah, you can't see it because it's round. Okay, I should have used a square. Oh well, I'll do that in a minute. Anyway, now I can take that whole thing, I can copy it, I can go to a new window, I can paste it, maybe. Window, go back to this one, make sure I have the whole thing. Command C, window, Command V, thank you. And now I'll take that whole thing if I need to and rotate it or scale it. But I find it much easier to build each piece individually in separate windows and then bring it together into a large window instead of trying to build everything in the same window that I'm working in, because it gets kind of confusing, and truthfully it sometimes ends up with things that I don't want. Yeah, like that. Let's kill that. Let's kill that. Let's grab that object. Let's make it a little bit skinny. Let's drop, let's give it some segments. 10 by 10 by 10, ought to give it lots of segments. Now, drop that taper. Go ahead and scale that down. I don't need to taper in the whole thing. Drop that taper into the cube. Right. And now we're going to turn and drop the twist in there as well. And again, that twist doesn't need to cover the whole part for what I'm about to make here. And I have a little screw, and had I given it more segments, it would be even smoother. Okay, cool.